and I was going to do lots of cool interviews with people who are interested about stuff, and basically, I didn't. I interviewed my nan, and that was great, and then since then I've done nothing. Fortunately, one of the people I did want to speak to happens to be sitting in our brand new live lounge, right here. This is Dimitri Wolfy McIntosh.
Hi, yes.
Cool. So, the point of these was just to help people who see people around church or people they don't know, get to know people a bit more, find out something interesting about interesting people. And you are an interesting person. Okay. So you worship lead?
Yes.
You speak occasionally at things? You help with youth? The natural assumption is you have always been a good Christian boy, raised as a good little Christian boy, saying your prayers before bed at night. Was that the case?
No.
No.
To say the least.
So, where did you come from? What's your little story in a few quick bursts?
I say, first and foremost, my gran prayed with me every day. Like when I was around at my grand's house, it was very much prayer. I was like every night before we go to sleep. And it was really in love with God up until like 6 years old. It was really, I prayed for the policeman, I never met him. It was like, let's pray for everyone. And then something changed, and I thought it felt it was more rules and regulations. So you stopped going to church for 11 years. And then, well, I say 11, it was like 15, came back. I was like, oh, fine, this is church. Through the youth club at St. Paul's in Hammersmith. And it was like, it got more interactive with it. But I say, I'd consciously make a decision 11 years from me being 6 or 17, where I consciously thought, I'm going to run with this.
What prompted that conscious decision then? What was the defining moment?
I think for me, the main thing was figuring what it was about and what it's about for me. I knew what religion and faith was to the world, what it was to media, what it was to family members, and so on and so forth. But what it was for me, and for me to own that, and for me to live in that, rather than live through other people's shadows or live through what I think they should be doing, or I should be doing.
And what is that then? What is it for you? What is?
For me, it pretty much is three things, bizarrely, that I wrote down for a song I did. Of stand up, shout out, be brave. To stand up and be like, yeah, I'm a Christian, follower of Jesus, I love what the Lord is with me. To shout it out, and that isn't shouting in people's faces about it, that isn't necessarily going, I'm a Christian, you need to believe Jesus, otherwise you're going to hell. It's not about that. It's about what God was, what Jesus is, relational. And be brave. Being a Christian isn't going to be the easiest thing. And being brave in that and understanding we are called to be bold. We are called to not be the things of the earth, as it were. We are called to aspire and to be the best that we can be. So stand out, stand up, be brave.
So what's the change in you knowing Jesus loves you? What's the biggest thing that changed in you?
I learned to love others more. I don't love everybody more, because this is me, it's not going to happen. But I try. I try to love others more, and my wife will tell you I'm a work in progress, by far. But just trying to show love more when I can.
That's one thing I've been wanting to ask you about publicly, on camera. If anyone was to follow you on Twitter at
Wolfy McIntosh,
they'd be inundated, they'd be swamped, they'd be barraged by selfies.
Selfies are actually my Facebook, not my Twitter, if we're getting. My own personal Facebook's got loads of them. My own Twitter,
I'm so deluged by your selfies. I can't tell. I fall asleep and your selfie is just there.
Yeah.
What is it with the selfies?
I think for me, I like to capture moments. And that sounds quite ridiculous, but in my day-to-day, I have a lot of comical, interesting moments. And I grew up as a kid where I used to love taking photos, but obviously didn't have the means and didn't own like your portable disposable cameras. Wise now everyone's got a phone, so I'm like, I
what moment, you always have a camera and stuff to capture everything. What moment in life would you wish you could have caught caught that moment you'd like to catch over in a selfie, or just remember what is, if you could capture one moment?
Me being 6 years old, kneeling with my gran, and we were praying. Yeah, that'd be the shot. From the window, like, night time, winter. That'd be the shot.
That's cool. So apart from selfies, there is one thing that seems to define you nearly as much as selfies, and that would be listening down here. You love worship, you love music.
Yeah.
It's the only reason this live lounge exists is because Dimitri wanted to film a little video earlier.
So we did it. We made a live lounge.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should keep. I think this should stay.
I'm up for it. Like, we might have to convince Steve.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. I like it.
So, what is it about singing to God? Where did this develop? Where did it come from? What has made this the overwhelming passion for you?
I would say I didn't want to do it at first. I think many a story starts that way. Where I used to sing as a kid and always would, and I always knew I could do it, so it was easy. But I think in the church context, it's a whole different ballgame because it's not always about the gift. It's about your calling. It's about what you feel comfortable in doing. And I think many people give up at times because they feel they're called to do something, or feel the Lord has called them to do something, but they don't feel they have the skill set or the gift. And that cripples them and hinders them, and they throw it down and forget about it. And for me, singing out isn't just because I sing the loudest.
But you do.
But I do. I don't know why they give me a mic on Sundays. I think it's more of an outward expression of who we are. That some of us love to share in the word, some of us have a gift to preach, some of us are awesome prayer warriors and love to organise prayer ministry. For me, it's worship, it's singing out, it's lifting a voice, it's me physically declaring that our God is God and that I want to encounter and want to bring others to encounter Him.
So what's the most, have you seen any amazing responses or something miraculous or someone change? What's the most, when declaring, when helping others to declare out, what's the most amazing moment you've seen or experienced ever?
So there's several, because I think there's a thing where in worship leading or anything in the church context, where you have a great example and you hold on to it, and it's almost like, oh, do you remember that time when this happened? Okay, but why can't that happen again? So my most recent one was last week on Thursday at the Impact venue at New One. Jamie Hill was leading, and I was part of the BB team for worship, and we just had a prayer night, a prayer and soaking night. And just literally see, it was the most remarkable, I think, without a shadow of doubt, it's the most remarkable thing I've ever seen in my life in being part of a worship context ever so far. Because to see how the two were married together, to see how prayer was being spoken, how praise was being spoken, and to see how much of the Spirit was being poured out among them, and to see people, and there was deliberate things. So for example, walked into there and straight away we were asked to, as a band, can you just sit down and just wait on God? Can you take your shoes off? They had this little shoe type, rack house type thing they built, I don't even know what you call it.
Shoe rack, probably.
A giant shoe rack with like laces and all tied. It was pretty cool. It's pretty abstract art. But and just had covered it with people just tying their trainers, hanging it together, or putting their feet down, and literally the verse in the back of, this is holy ground. And I gave Jamie a word. What just kept ringing in my head of, it was literally, it's time for us to do our business with Jesus. And whatever that is, it's time for us to do our business with Jesus. To do our battle, to do our fight, to stand upon and lean upon.
Nice. song that has been more impactful, or you've met God more through than any other? Is there one song you go back to, like this, if I need God, I go to?
There's a couple. I could go vintage and go with like Amazing Grace, like straight up. Hearing different family members as a kid just start singing Amazing Grace, just like the original, not the Chris Tomlin version, not the different Chris Tomlin's version.
Can't be a classic.
Yeah, can't beat vintage Amazing Grace, and that's been with me in various times in my life so far. It was, on top of that, I think my new favourite song has to be Good Good Father by Houseflies, because the way it's sung and the way it's delivered, it's effortless. It isn't a, oh, we've got a sick riff, we've got an amazing drum beat and fill, or did you hear the synth from keys? No. It's just people pouring out and crying out. And yeah. And then yeah. And I think there's just various ones really that really do just stick out. There's a couple of Israel Houghton ones. I'm a major Israel fan, without fail. Him and Kurt Franklin. Yes. That just really spark it and really just get you in the mood and just really, it's great just to chill out and listen to. And I think we're at a stage where, especially in Christian music, where before it was like Christian music was its own genre. It's like country and western really. Like, you don't get country and western rap. If you do,
That would be amazing.
yeah, what Nelly featuring Florida. Look, that's on my album list somewhere. But yeah, just to hear the different genres, whether it's rap, whether it's hip hop, whether it's country and western, or your typical old school, you've got that, what's that thing? Oh yeah, the organ going. Simpsons stand. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's it for me.
That's cool. So what's next for you? You're just about to start new jobs. Who knows?
I don't know.
What's the next bit?
So major Joshua 1:9. Paraphrasing it because I can't remember the thing by the verse. It's not very good at. Where it basically says, "Do not worry, like, do not be afraid, for your Lord your God is with you." And really living in that. And yeah, you got a job coming up with Westminster College this summer, and that's great. And many different music projects, just getting in and getting amongst and seeing how they develop and take hold. Yeah, that's it really. And I think, yeah, and with that, and with there's this hashtag I keep doing of lately. I'm also known for my hashtags, where it's called, so it's hashtag blessed to be a blessing. Was from a song by Israel Houghton and the Lakewood Church, where it goes, I'm blessed to be a blessing. And that we are blessed to be blessings. And we're in a privileged position where with social media, with having iPhones, iPads, smartphones as it were, we can transmit anything around the world. And the reason why I put the hashtag blessed to be a blessing is because I've been blessed. I've really been blessed for me to keep it. I've been blessed for me to actively bless others.
Brilliant. So if anyone was watching this, if anyone ever watches this, hi.
You should, it's pretty good. I like it.
If anyone was watching this, what would you ask that they pray for you?
Ooh.
Watch this anywhere in the future.
Yeah, man. With 80 and shit. Hovering by that thing. On the chairs. It happened by then.
Yes.
For me, what would I want prayer for? That I remain a servant of God. Because it's quite easy to. A mentor of mine called Alan Evans told me this, that unprotected strength becomes a double weakness. And it's wrong to assume that as Christians, we're always going to be loving God. Because if we don't pray that we're always going to be loving God, eventually, decade, 2 decades, 3 decades down the line, our own strength is going to be the thing that overtopples us and overpowers us. whether you're leading worship, you become so used to the rhythms that it's very much, oh, it's me doing this, and I would hate for that to happen. So that I can always remain a servant of God. That, I guess, the job thing works out. And yeah, that my marriage just remains solid, and that we can bless people through it.
Awesome, awesome. So you mentioned that you sing, you worship. Would you sing a song for the camera now?
Okay. Is this playing guitar or not playing guitar?
Up to you, whatever you'd like, something that you think means something. Maybe Amazing Grace.
See, Amazing Grace, I can only remember the opening lines.
You play it one, and I'll move out your one.
I'll sing it. I'll sing the beginning of Amazing Grace.
And let's hope it's still recording.
Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved the wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Hey Dimitri, where can we follow you on Facebook and Twitter?
So you can follow me on Wolfy McIntosh, so that's Wolf with a Y, McIntosh on Twitter, or you can follow me as Dimitri Wolfy McIntosh on my Facebook page. Peace out.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. I really hope that filmed.